Hi, Mrs. Johnson. This is Senator Ted Cruz calling on behalf of the Donald Trump presidential campaign. I was wondering if we could count on your support this November. Yes, that's right, ma'am. The pussy. Yes. You just grab them by the pussy. It's a metaphor. For freedom, ma'am. Yes, I am going to be killing myself soon.
And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood of the seed of man.
That's right.
Of the seed of man.
The word seed is sperm, and sperm comes through having sex.
It's shut out of your father's rod.
Right.
Put it in layman terms, in his penis.
That's right.
That means a man put his penis in a woman and bust off in it.
Then the angel said to him, "Take out the entrails of this fish, and lay up his heart and his gall and his liver for thee. For these are necessary for useful medicines."
The rest of the chapters of the book of Esther,
Go ahead.
which are found neither in the Hebrew nor in the Chaldee.
Greetings, fellow worker slaves, podcasting at 128 kilobits from the Fortress of Squalitude, not far from the redneck Mecca. This is the Atheist in the Trailer Park podcast. I'm your host, Tucker. Professor Fuzznuts is in my face, but he's going to be running away in terror in just a second. Excuse me. I am about to give him a dose of his flea medicine. Surprisingly, this time he did not recognize the sound of the package being opened. Now he's in my arms, and it goes on the back of his neck, and he runs off. Now I will have some peace while I try and record. That opening bit was inspired by a meme of a photo of Ted Cruz working a phone bank. If you haven't seen the picture, it's hysterical because Cruz looks like suicide prevention has just put him on hold. And while this is an Apocrypha episode, given that the story of Trump bragging about sexually assaulting women is currently all over the news, I can't exactly ignore it. Lots of people seem to think that this is going to totally torpedo Trump's chances, as if a party which prides itself on denying women access to birth control is going to give two shits about someone who forces himself on women. No. By the time you hear this, the debate between Hillary and Trump will have already happened. My guess is that the debate will start with Donald making some kind of apology for his remarks. I also imagine that he'll not go after Bill's transgressions since he doesn't want to give Hillary the opportunity to unleash hell upon himself. Hillary will probably only make oblique references to the recording of Trump so as to avoid people accusing her of being a hypocrite, as Bill doesn't exactly have a spotless record when it comes to women either. Of course, Bill's not presently being sued in court for raping a 13-year-old girl, like Trump is. Nor do I expect the GOP to dump Trump and put Pence on the top of the ticket. Not only would that hand the election over to Hillary, but because of the mishmash of U.S. ballot laws, it's almost impossible for them to do this. That's why when he was running for office, former U.S. Attorney General John Ashcroft lost to a dead man. There was no way to change the ballot in the state he was running for office, so people voted for the dead guy. And while many Republican politicians have criticized Trump over the remarks, only a handful have completely disavowed his candidacy. Even fewer of those are actively running for office. Reince Priebus, whose name sounds like part of the directions for cooking something like haggis, said about a month ago that if you were a Republican and wanted the support of the party, you had to endorse Trump. as of this recording, he hasn't publicly changed his stance on that subject. I doubt if he will. What gets me about all of this is that the recording is over 10 years old, and the people who had it sat on it until now. Seems to me that the only reason they would do this is because they wanted to tank the election. Given that it's Trump they're going after, I'm not really opposed to them waiting so long. However, this isn't the only recording of Trump out there which hasn't been played for the public that has him saying despicable things. According to Penn Jillette, those boardroom scenes you'd see on The Apprentice required all of the cast and crew sitting in that room for an entire day, while Trump rambled on about whatever passes through that excuse of a mind that he has. The producers would then edit it down into something that made sense and wasn't horrifyingly offensive. I doubt if they've erased that stuff. Somebody out there probably has copies of that on a hard drive. If I were them, I'd start dumping that out onto the web immediately. I realize that this might mean they'd have a tough time getting a job in the industry again, but the future of the country, if not the world, is kind of at stake. They need to make it public now. Okay, that's enough about the Trumpkin. Let's get to the Apocrypha. And joining me yet again, and thus proving why you should always wear a helmet when you play football, is the one and only Joe Kendick from the Unbuckling the Bible Belt podcast.
Howdy ho! It's quite the intro, thank you.
I thought you'd appreciate that. So,
but wait a minute, why do you need a helmet in soccer, man? I don't get it.
Because soccer's a little sissy game where you just run around.
I hate that. I loved playing. I played soccer for like 20 years. Loved playing. Cannot stand watching it.
Yeah, it's not really surprising. I mean, I've been to, I don't watch baseball games on TV, but, I've been to some of the Sounds games in Nashville and had a good time.
They sell beer there.
And I didn't even have any beer.
What?
Well, when you're with your family and it's your brother who's gotten you free tickets thanks to where he works, and he's a devout Baptist who doesn't drink, getting sloppy is not a good idea.
Sounds like you need a new brother, I'm just saying. No, I'm kidding. No, things are definitely, ambiance is different when it's live, but
yeah,
I can't stand baseball on TV at all. I mean, I can watch the home run highlights on ESPN. That's about it.
Yeah, I don't watch any sports ball on TV at all. Okay, so we will jump into this nightmare. And for those who were wanting a little recap of previous episodes, Esdras decided to starve himself for 21 days and go into the desert and see God. And in the last episode, he mansplained to a woman why she shouldn't complain and suffer that her only child had died. And then he had some kind of hallucination about an eagle that sounded more like King Ghidra than an actual eagle. It had like 3 heads, and the heads fought each other, and it had like 12 wings, and then it only had 6 wings for some reason. It had a bunch of feathers that would grow and shrink and turn into people and then die, and a voice would say, "This is the greatest feather of all time. There will be none other after it." That feather would die, and another one would replace it. So, I mean,
well, they had some good drugs back then.
Yeah, Heretic Woman and I concluded that he must have gone out into a poppy field, because it talks about him going out into a field and eating flowers to break his fast. So we're guessing he was eating some good opium poppies.
Sweet.
All right, and we'll do this. We'll take, let's say, 2 verses each, and then swap off to the next person.
That's hot.
All right, well, yeah, you want to start her?
Yeah, sure. And it came to pass, whiles the lion spake these words unto the eagle, I saw, and behold, the head that remained of the 4 wings appeared no more, and the 2 went into it, unto it, and set themselves up to reign, and their kingdom was small and full of uproar. Huh.
Oh, and at the end there was like a bunch of animals that came out of the forest, and like one of them was a lion, and the others were something that it claimed to have described but never did. So that's where that lion thing came from.
Man.
And I saw, and behold, they appeared no more, and the whole body of the eagle was burnt, so that the earth was in great fear. Then I awaked out of the trouble and trance of my mind, and from great fear, and said unto my spirit, Lo, this hast thou done unto me, in that thou searchest out the ways of the highest. Which makes no fucking sense at all.
Totally does. Lo, yet I am weary in my mind, and very weak in my spirit. And little strength is there in me, for the great fear wherewith I was afflicted this night. Wow, that reads, wow. Therefore will I now beseech the highest, and he will comfort me unto the end.
And I said, Lord, that bearest rule, as opposed to the Lord who doesn't bear rule. If I have found grace before thy sight, and if I am justified with thee before many others, and if my prayer indeed be come up before thy face, comfort me then, and show me thy servant the interpretation and plain difference of this fearful vision, that thou mayest perfectly comfort my soul.
Yeah.
Explain this shit, asshole.
Huh, so he's giving God a prayer facial. I get that much. Huh. For thou hast judged me worthy to shew up the last times. And he said unto me, This is the interpretation of the vision.
The eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel. Presumably that's the prophet. But it was not expounded unto him, therefore now I declare it unto thee.
Unto thee, Behold, the days will come that there shall rise up a kingdom upon earth, and it shall be feared above all the kingdoms that were before it. In the same shall 12 kings reign, one after another.
Whereof the second shall begin to reign, and shall have more time than any of the 12. And this do the 12 wings signify, which thou sawest. Yeah, but the numbers of the wings kept changing constantly.
Is this supposed to reference the 12 tribes of Israel?
Your guess is as good as mine. It
All
could
right.
also be the 12 signs of the zodiac.
I guess.
Yeah.
As for the voice which thou heardest speak, and that thou sawest not go out from the heads, but from the midst of the body thereof, this is the interpretation. That the time of the kingdom shall arise great strivings, and it shall stand in peril of failing. Nevertheless, it shall not then fail. Is that fail or fall?
Looks like fall.
It is fall. It is failing to fall, sorry.
Sorry.
But shall be restored again to his beginning.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. The eagle seemed to be talking out of its ass.
Well, flaming eagles that come out of the sea tend to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if it's on fire, to be honest.
No, it was at one point.
Yeah.
And whereas thou sawest the 8 small under feathers sticking to her wings, this is the interpretation. That in him there shall arise 8 kings, whose time shall be small, and their years swift. So, how does this jibe with the 12 kings? Are these 8 a subset of that 12, or are these 8, in addition to those 12?
Well, maybe they're the, What the hell?
No, it gets weirder.
Well, the 12 reign one after the another, and the second one, he'll have more time. And then...
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And 2 of them... I'm trying to do the math here. And 2 of them shall perish, the middle time approaching. 4 shall be kept until their end begin to approach, but 2 shall be kept until the end. And whereas thou sawest 3 heads resting, this is the interpretation. What the fuck, dude?
I tell you, man, some good opium about it.
Yeah, seriously, I've reread these like the last 5 statements like 3 times already, and my brain doesn't. I'm not grokking.
I don't think they can be grokked. In his last days shall the Most High raise up 3 kingdoms. Now, does that mean the last days of God? Does that mean the last days of the great king that it's talking about? I don't know. And renew many things therein. And they shall have the dominion of the earth. And of those that dwell therein with much oppression above all those that were before them. Therefore are they called the heads of the eagle. Huh?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
For these are they that... For these are they that shall accomplish this wickedness, and that shall finish his last end. So maybe the 8 are the enemy. Maybe they're enemy kings.
Could be.
And whereas thou sawest that the great head appeared no more, it signifieth that one of them shall die upon his bed, and yet with pain. Well, how else are you planning on dying?
Yeah. For the 2 that remain shall be slain with the sword. For the sword of the one shall devour the other, but at the last shall he fall through the sword himself. Okay.
Oh, well, he should, yeah.
Yeah.
And whereas thou sawest 2 feathers under the wings passing over the head that is on the right side, it signifieth that these are they whom the highest hath kept under their end. This is the small kingdom and full of trouble as thou sawest. I feel like a 3-year-old learning to read when I read this shit. It's like my brain doesn't understand the words that should, like they know what should go next, and then they just add another word.
Yeah. And the lion whom thou sawest rising up out of the wood and roaring, and speaking to the eagle and rebuking her for her unrighteousness with all the words which thou hast heard, this is the anointed, which the highest hath kept for them and for their wickedness unto the end. He shall reprove them, and he shall upbraid them with their cruelty.
That's a word I am not aware of. Upbraid.
Yeah.
The hell's an upbraid?
It's just bitch them out, basically.
Gotcha. For he shall set them before him alive in judgment, and shall rebuke them and correct them. For the rest of my people shall he deliver with mercy. Those that have been pressed upon my borders, and he shall make them joyful until the coming of the day of judgment, whereof I have spoken to thee from the beginning. That was a long-ass sentence.
Yeah.
Huh.
This is the dream that thou sawest, and these are the interpretations. Thou only hast been meet to know this secret of the highest. That's a weird way to say, you're the only one who knows this shit.
This is kind of reminiscent of Joseph Smith talking into the hat.
Yeah.
Or reading into the hat, I mean. Therefore, write all these things that thou hast seen in a book and hide them. Hey, wait a minute. And teach them to the wise of the people, whose hearts thou knowest may comprehend and keep these secrets.
But wait thou here thyself yet 7 days more, that it may be showed thee whatsoever it pleaseth the highest to declare unto thee. And with that he went his way. And it came to pass...
This King James Version.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
And it came to pass, when all the people saw that the 7 days were past, and I not come again into the city, they gathered them all together, from the least unto the greatest, and came unto me, and said, "Dude, you've been gone for a month.
Get a fucking shower."
Yeah.
To get the bugs out of your teeth. All right. What have we offended thee, and what evil have we done against thee? For thou forsakest us. I just said us. Forsakest us, and sittest here in this place. For all of the prophets thou only art left us, as a cluster of the vintage, and as a candle in a dark place, and as a haven or ship preserved from the tempest.
Are not the... Go ahead.
This is fucking terrible.
Yeah, I know, man.
I mean, I'm not a writer by any means. You know, it's not. I didn't go to college for that. It's not a talent I possess. I'm pretty sure I could knock this out better. I'm just saying, I think I could.
I can't argue with that. Are not the evils which are come to us sufficient? If thou shalt forsake us, how much better had it been for us if we also had been burned in the midst of Sion?
Yeah. For we are not better than they that died there, and they wept with a loud voice. Then I answered, Then answered I them, and said, Be of good comfort, O Israel, and be not heavy, thou house of Jacob.
For the highest hath you in remembrance, and the mighty hath not forgotten you in temptation. As for me, I have not forsaken you, neither am I departed from you, but am come into this place to pray for the desolation of Sion, and that I might seek mercy for the low estate of your sanctuary. Now, this really doesn't make any sense, because previously he was just like, it said that, God was like, fuck them all. There's about 5, I'll save, the rest, fuck them. And now he's telling all of them, hey, don't worry about it, you'll be fine.
Nah, totally good.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got lost.
49, and just go ahead and read the last, since it's the end of the chapter.
Oh, yeah. And now go your way home, every man. After these days will I come unto you. So the people went their way into the city, like as I commanded them. But I remained still in the field 7 days, as the angel commanded me, and did eat only in those days of the flowers of the field, and had my meat of the herbs. So he was smoking the ganj, eating some fucking eating some opium, doing a good thing, loving Jesus. Wait, Jesus didn't exist yet.
But there's some parts of this which seem to indicate that he knew about Jesus. So go figure that one out.
Well, when you're writing something 1,000 years later, you can pretty much do what you want.
Yeah. And it came... what?
I would say this definitely sounds like a drug-induced thing.
Yeah, well, like in the last one, that woman he was bitching at because she was so upset that her only son had died, well, her only child. And, like, after he chews her out, she turns into a building.
Sweet.
Yeah. Okay, now chapter 13. And it came to pass, drink, in honor of David Michael, after 7 days I dreamed a dream by night. Well, that's a good time to do it. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof.
As waves are the byproduct of wind. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen unto him. And whensoever, that's a good word, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. Sorry.
No, it's just weird.
It is.
And
is there another translation of this that isn't King James?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, there probably is, but...
it's like a new international version of this?
If it's online, I haven't seen it.
Gotcha.
And after this, I beheld... Wait, I just lost my place. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven, not heavens, heaven, singular, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it.
But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. After this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight.
I think part of this, I'm just going to drop in Samuel Jackson going, English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
You need to do that. Like, I am not an unintelligent person, but I feel dumb as fuck reading this.
So, dude, I don't understand 99% of this myself, so don't feel the least bit bad. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast sparks and tempests.
So these are the fire-breathing Jew things that...
it sounds like it.
Yeah, that's what...
It's in Revelations.
Yeah, Revelations, yeah. Huh. All right. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude moving was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. No shit! Afterwards saw I the same man come down from the mountains and call unto him another peaceable multitude. Yeah, I wouldn't be anywhere near that motherfucker.
I would be running. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, and some of them were bound, and other some brought of them that were offered. What? Is that human sacrifice?
That's what it sounds like. I mean, if they were bound then offered, I mean, that's definitely slavery kind of stuff.
Yeah. Then I was sick through great fear, and I awaked and said, Thou hast showed thy servant these wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that thou shouldest receive my prayer. Huh?
Yeah. Show me now yet the interpretation of this dream. For as I conceive in mine understanding, woe unto them that shall be left in those days, and much more woe unto them that are not left behind. So this is a revelation, well, a post-apocalyptic kind of thing, or an apocalyptic kind of thing.
For they that were not left were in heaviness. Wait. For they that were not left were in heaviness. That means they're gone. How do you know what they're like if they're gone? Now, I understand the things that are laid up in the latter days, which shall happen unto them and to those that are left behind.
Therefore are they come into great perils and many necessities, like as these dreams declare. Yet it is easier for him that is in danger to come into these things than to pass away as a cloud out of the world, and not see the things that happen in the last days. And he answered unto me and said,
The interpretation of the vision shall I show thee, and I will open unto thee the thing that thou hast required. Why didn't he just say, look, dude, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to show up one day, I'm going to breathe fire on people, I'm going to kick their fucking asses because I don't like them, and we're done.
I mean, that doesn't sound any less ridiculous than this entire rigmarole.
Yeah. Whereas thou hast spoken of them that are left behind, this is the interpretation.
He that shall endure the peril in that time hath kept himself. That they be fallen into danger are such as have works and faith towards the Almighty. Know this therefore, that they which... Damn it. That's right. No, that they which be left behind are more blessed than they that be dead. So wait a minute. So atheists are more blessed than the people that got killed. So that's cool.
Yeah, but the people who are going to have the shit beat out of them, apparently, are all good, devout believers because they have works and faith toward the Almighty.
This seems like a terrible selling point.
Yeah.
I don't think they understand how the carrot and the sword works.
This is the meaning of the vision. Whereas thou sawest a man coming up from the midst of the sea, the same is he whom God the highest hath kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind.
So Kirk Cameron was right. He's the man coming out of the sea from Left Behind. Damn it. You know what? I repent. Jesus. I'm sorry. I didn't realize Kirk Cameron was prophesied. And whereas thou sawest that out of the... Damn, why can I not read this? Whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth there came a blast of wind and fire and storm, and that he held neither a sword nor any instrument of war, but that rushing in of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation. I think they just copied and pasted this again.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. So, sort of like surprise butt sex.
Sorta, except, are you flaming before or after? That's terrible. God damn, that's terrible. Oh my goodness. And one shall undertake to fight against another, and one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. Oh, so we're actually getting this, the Mortal Kombat realm. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen which I showed thee before, and then then shall my son be declared, for whom thou sawest as a man descending. So Kirk Cameron is coming after a bunch of fighting. All right. Sweet. So this is prophesizing. I can't say the word. Prophesizing Jesus, essentially.
Yeah. Assuming, of course, you believe that it was written before Jesus had been around.
Well, actually, it's Emmanuel, probably, as opposed to Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeshua.
Well, they actually, in a couple of previous things, they mentioned at least one person named Jesus who was described more or less as the biblical version of Jesus, even though they didn't use some of the same terminology that you would expect if they were talking about Jesus.
I gotcha.
And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle cry they have one against another. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. So this is just like cut and pasting what they just fucking said.
So basically, all these people are going to be like, okay, he burned the shit out of these guys, but I think we have a chance. And then they get the shit burned out of them, and the next group of guys like, all right, guys, he's totally out of flame breath now. Let's get this guy. Well, intelligence levels are not that high back then, apparently. But he shall stand upon the top of the Mount Sion, and Sion shall come, and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands.
Okay, so, in other words, dude's standing there, and a mountain springs up underneath him. At this point, I'm running the fuck away.
He's the last airbender. That's basically what this guy fucking is.
Yeah. And this, my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest. So, he's a Luddite who hates technology. Fuck you. And shall lay before them their evil thoughts, almost said civil thoughts, from the way it is.
Same thing.
Yeah.
And it looks like it.
And the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented. In the Department of Redundancy Department.
That's right.
which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the law, which is like unto me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. Whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him. See, they're always peaceable, and then he fucking murders them.
It's the Christian thing to do.
It is. It is. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Oscar the Grouch. Osea the king, whom Salmanasar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. So now he's actually talking about the tribes of Israel.
Yeah. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
So they're going to Antarctica.
That's the only place. That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. And for the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over.
Okay, now, none of this was in the vision, you know. You just saw the people getting torched, and another group saying, "Hey, you're cool, man, we ain't gonna fuck with you." And that was it. Then the dude wakes up, and he's like, "What the hell's this going on?" And then we get all this.
Hey, Doc, did you see the size of that chicken?
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely 1.5 years, and the same region is called Arsareth. Then dwelt they that there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come. English, motherfucker!
Oh, shit. Ye olde English. The highest... Holy fuck, my brain stopped. The highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace. But those that left behind of thy people are they that are found within my borders. That's odd.
Okay. And now when he destroyeth the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, he shall defend his people that remain. Well, that's a first.
Yeah.
And then he shall shew them great wonders.
Bend over and touch your toes. I'll show you where the wild goose goes.
Ooh.
Then said I, O Lord that bearest rule, show me this. Wherefore have I seen the man coming up from the midst of the sea? And he said unto me, like as thou canst neither seek out nor know the things that are in the deep of the sea, even so can no man upon earth see my son, or those that be with him, but in the daytime.
So he's a daywalker.
He's a daywalker, exactly. You can't see me, bitch.
And I think I have a show title, Kirk Cameron's Flaming Daywalker.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. This is the interpretation of the dream which thou sawest, and whereby thou only art here lightened. For thou hast forsaken thine own way, and applied thy diligence unto my law, and sought it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thy life hast thou ordered in wisdom, and hast called understanding thy mother. And therefore have I showed thee the treasures of the highest. After other 3 days I will speak other things unto thee, and declare unto thee mighty and wondrous things. Oh my God.
I know. Then I went forth into the field, giving praise and thanks greatly unto the Most High, because I was tripping my balls off. Because of his wonders, which he did in time. And because he governeth the same, and such things as fall in their seasons. And there I sat for 3 days. So the dude...
Yeah, he fucking tripping.
Dude has been hallucinating for 33 days. And the next one's really long, so not really long, but it's long enough that we'll just cap this here, because otherwise...
Oh, no.
We'll we'll be over an hour. And I'm sure you've got shit to do.
Yeah, kill myself after reading this fucking thing. Man, you're braver than I am for doing this shit.
Well, hey, man, somebody's got to take the bullet.
I mean, if you wanted to get fucked in the ass, I know some people. That's all I'm saying.
That's not painful enough.
No doubt. So, this, let's have a post. Let's have a talk about this. There's a lot of I was in the desert tripping my balls off. Food deprived, water deprived. In different religions. I mean, that's definitely the common theme here. Is that you deprive me of food and water, I'm going to start seeing shit, and it's definitely got to be God, or definitely going to be God, or whatever.
Yeah, and there's often strange substances involved. While it's never officially said in this, and, it talks about him eating flowers. Well, there's only certain flowers you can eat without getting sick. And jokingly, yes, he might be eating poppy.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
But, it's not like he could eat, chrysanthemum blossoms, he probably wouldn't be able to eat without getting sick. So it seems to me that the fact that they're saying eating flowers, there's something significant, which you and I don't know because we're stupid. Well,
poppies are prevalent in the Middle East.
Yeah. But yet it would probably be, if it wasn't poppies, it would probably be some other kind of flower like morning glories. That's a hallucinogen. I don't know if they're found there in the Middle East or not. But that would be...
What's the story, Morning Glory?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
That would be a good thing to look up. Wikipedia habitat. Here we go.
That's probably the weirdest thing that's been Googled today in my presence.
That's habit, not habitat. Isn't it?
Morning glories have a drug habit.
Well, they were in China, and there was China. So they're apparently they've been found all around the world, more or less. I mean, so it doesn't specifically say the Middle East, but it talks about China and Japan knowing about it. Hundreds, like in the 9th century, and it talks about, Mesoamerican civilization. So obviously it grew up on, it wasn't that they discovered them in the Americas and took them to the old world, since, it was known in China in the 9th century. So
they knew about a lot of shit in China in the 9th century. Yeah, if they weren't so isolationist, they'd have run the fucking world.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's just, one of those things that...
Well, as Kennedy said, the nation that turns inward is doomed to decline.
Make America great again. Oh, sorry. Shit.
Have you seen the photo of Ted Cruz at the Trump phone bank?
No.
The picture of him on the phone, it looks like he's still calling suicide prevention.
Oh, that is so wrong.
He looks, he just looks glum and horrible, like his dog died or some shit.
Ted Cruz. That guy wasn't that guy. I got nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't even want to talk about him.
And I need to apologize to Joe because there were some audio issues at the end when he was discussing his show that were so bad I had to cut that segment out. I apologize. I will have links to his show, the Unbuckling the Bible Belt podcast, in the show notes. So if you're interested, you can go there to check it out. It is a great podcast. And once again, I apologize.
That's it for this episode of The Atheist in the Trailer Park Podcast. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, as well as just about anywhere else podcasts can be found. Many of the episodes are also on YouTube. Follow the show on Twitter. @TParkAtheist is the show's Twitter handle. It's on Facebook at facebook.com/trailerparkatheist.com. If you happen to like the podcast, please rate it on iTunes. If you'd like to support the podcast, there's a donate button on the show notes page. You can support it via Patreon at patreon.com/TN Tucker. Thanks for listening.
Say goodnight, Fuzz-Nuts.
All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
Damned cat.